I want to stick on something that I think is really interesting. It's earlier in what you described, which is I had this bad experience, so I wanted to quit. And then I had this good experience, and that made me want to pursue it. Can you speak to that a little bit more? I think this is kind of an important aspect or something to talk about, this motivation part of it. Do you have anything to expand upon that?
Yeah, it's interesting. Often I think that I'm still learning all that stuff too, even though I've had these experiences in my life where I've had that happen and I've gone through it. I still think that every time it happens, I'm still trying to figure out what this means and what do I do with it, right? And lately I embraced that attitude. I'm telling my students to run towards the fire. They'll come in and plan a lesson and I'm like, no, run towards the fire. Like, put your sound out there. Like, do this, do more than what you think you should do. And then we can rein that back in. Pedagogically, I think it's like we find like the right wall in the room, and the wall on the right is like the underdoing it side, and the left wall of the room is like the overdoing it side. And until you find your walls, you can't really find the center of the room, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I've just been thinking a lot about motivation in general for myself, because there's just going to be a long period where you're probably going to have more negative outcomes than positive. Generally, things are not always going to go the way we want them to, even if we've put in a ton of work, even if it's the best work we've ever done. How do you as a performer and how do you as a teacher sort of help keep these things, that part of it in perspective, that we want to have a high standard, but we also have to celebrate the small wins if we want to continue moving forward?
Well, I think for me, it's, I try to make everything a game. And I think when I'm not in the game aspect of it, I'm making things overly serious. If I've learned nothing about myself, I've learned that I'm 1,000% checked in all the time. And so that's all a positive thing and can be a detriment, because I remember at UT when I go to play a concert, I go out and play really well, but I'd chip one note and I go home and I'd be like really ticked off about it. And there's an unhealthy aspect to that, right? And for me, when I was applying for jobs, I knew that about myself. I was like, how many rejection letters am I going to get in before I just chuck the whole thing out the window? And so I was like, I'm going to make it a game. And I only applied for maybe 4 or 5 places before OSU. And I even told my wife when I was applying, I said, you know what, I'm going to get a rejection letter. I'm going to collect one. I'm going to get one from every state. I'm going to just make a game out of it, because if I can do anything right, I can collect rejection letters from every state of the union. And for me, the motivation is one, that I always want to do a better level. I'm a perfectionist, but also knowing that I can get into my head a little bit about that. I'm trying to make it more fun. My students too, we work really hard, but we also try to have fun while we're doing it, And the more fun it gets, the more fun we have, the more likely we are to run towards the next fire,